Today we're going over the second Teatime banner in Fire Emblem Heroes. We skipped last year, but the tea party's back on. For this season of banner, you can get alts for Celine, Felix, Veronica, and Harmonic Ingrid / Nanna. We'll talk about everyone's stats and skills, plus discuss some good ideas. The 4-star focus unit is Teatime Celine. You can get her at 4 and 5-star rarity. This is a fitting seasonal banner for Celine, but dang do I feel bad for Alfred. Now, for this alt, Celine will be a red flying mage. She has 36 HP, 43 attack, 47 speed, 16 defense, and 41 res. Celine has HP and res super boons. Celine has decent offensive stats, and you can work with her res stat for certain skills. Just keep the poor girl away from archers. For alt skills, Celine brings Rally Up Res Plus and Speed and Res Rain 3. She will be the second attack and speed mastery holder, which gives plus 7 stats with an extra plus 4 if Divine Veins or difficult terrain is nearby. After combat, it also gives you Kanto 2. Celine's inheritable red tome is the Teapot Plus. I'm still not sure we surpassed the Johanna weapons, but the Teatime weapons are certainly up there for solid inheritables. This 12 might tome states, if a rally or movement assist is used by unit or target's unit, grants incited and bread type cooldown to allies within 2 spaces of both the unit and target ally after movement. These buffs will also be given to the user and ally involved in the assist. Now after assisting, the user gets an extra action. If initiating or near an ally, you can get plus 5 to all stats and true damage equal to 5 times the number of advantageous statuses in the fight. If you can get 5 statuses in your favor, you get up to 25 true damage. Teapot Plus has the same stat boost and true damage as the Crab Tome. It does not summon a giant crab, so we'll have to dock some points, but this is an inheritable that gives extra actions after assisting. That's pretty cool. You cannot get multiple extra actions in this fashion, so no stacking with the Makai ring. Instead of healing and cleansing, this tea will grant incited for bonus stats when moving, and the bread type cooldown for all actions. Teapot Plus will buff multiple allies, assuming you're grouped up, and this includes the user. For playstyle, Teapot Plus opens up some interesting options, similar to units like Lucina or Chrom. Now others can activate skills such as Detect, Snag, or Link for buffs/debuffs. You can then attack in the same turn to take advantage of the effects yourself. Another benefit of the extra action is that you will get rid of the usual penalties active through the next action. For an example setup, Celine can use Speed and Res Detect with a movement assist to inflict exposure. Foes with exposure will take -5 speed and res and lose their speed and res field buffs. Celine will buff up with incited and bread type cooldown, plus you can add a skill like Air Orders for charge and warping. These extra statuses get us to 25 true damage, and exposure is an extra 10 on top. Celine can use the cooldown to proc higher cooldown specials like Magic Light, Luna, or Glacies. You can also use Ice Wall or Frost Moon too. After combat, Mastery will give Kanto 2 to retreat. There are many ways you can alter this type of build. Snag 4 inflicts Sabotage, Link 4 can give Kanto 1. Celine can use Flyer Mobility skills to warp around for easier positioning, both for assisting and attacking after. With her decent base res, you could also run the res-based buffing skills like Havoc or Ploy. For just general utility, a skill like Wings of Mercy or Mercy Wing Echo can warp Celine in, and she can get the extra action from there. When it comes to Arcane Blood Gang builds, you can stack its Slang plus Pre-Impulse's cooldown with Silence Ward for an instant 3 cooldown special. If Celine didn't follow up, you could even proc something like Frost Moon instantly. Now, for more true damage and DR piercing, you can use Resonance or the even better Far Resound to also add Far Trace for Kanto. If you stick with Mastery, you could use Occultist Strike, even Havoc technically. For this month's Ephemera, Teatime Lysithea has Desperation 4 and Attack and Speed Oath 4. Not super fancy, but a simple way to avoid counterattacks, and Oath 4's warping would be nice, especially with Teapot Plus. For other skills, Sly or Flared Sparrow are fine, and you can upgrade Rain into Crux for a follow-up. Among Sacred Seals, you can try to utilize the Tier 3 Snags, Link, and Feint skills, just something different to go with Teapot Plus. All in all, Celine's a pretty typical offensive mage with enough res to work around. Teapot Plus is a neat inheritable, especially for more hybrid support/combat builds. Next, our first 5-star ult goes to Felix. Felix is done studying the blade, so he's picked up the lance. For stats, Felix has 41 HP, 47 attack, 48 speed, 38 defense, and 24 res. Extremely high offensive stats with speed and res super boons. For ult skills, Felix has Gust and Perfect Attack and Speed, 2 very nice skills for faster infantry. Felix's Teatime Lance has 16 might, and at start of turn and after acting, Felix inflicts -7 speed and defense, sabotage, and discord onto closest foes and foes within 2 spaces. I am actually surprised we went the whole year and Felix is still the only unit with double slaying. At start of combat, if the foe has high HP or Felix is adjacent to 1 or fewer allies, he gains bonus stats equal to 5 plus the number of foes within 3 rows or columns times 3. With 3 foes in range, Felix can get plus 14 to all stats. After combat, Felix heals 7 HP. He then deals true damage equal to X times 5 and reduces damage by X times 3 during combat. This X value is the number of advantageous statuses in the fight. Like Celine, Felix can get 25 true damage with 5 advantageous statuses. He will also add 15 flat DR as well. Unlike his Brave Vault, Teatime Felix gives up distant counter and adaptive damage for some debuffing. -7 speed and defense will get doubled by Sabotage, and Discord adds more debuffs on top for grouped up foes. To be at his strongest, Felix will need statuses. With double slaying, Gus is going to be on 1 cooldown, just like the Brave Vault. Felix keeps his Lone Wolf B skill, but it has been slightly tweaked. The majority of the skill is still the same as before, so Felix gets potentially 2 extra actions: Phantom Speed, -5 debuffs, true damage, and Excel flat DR equal to 20% speed. All of this is good stuff. What is new is that Felix gets full DR piercing specials. The Brave Vault's weapon had 50% DR piercing on all hits. Felix now depends on Gus procs for piercing. In addition, True Lone Wolf technically has been nerfed. Unless I'm misunderstanding something, Teatime Felix cannot step onto an 8th rage trap and trigger his extra action. On top of this, the skill also no longer works against Heimdallr's Foresight Snare status. This is a future problem, but basically Foresight Snare ends the action of the attacker. Brave Felix can use his extra action when not fighting to still move after. That will no longer be the case for the Teatime ult. Aside from Foresight Snare, if you want to use this Felix in 8th raids, do be aware he's not going to function exactly like his Brave ult. Continuing, we have a new inheritable C skill, Tempest Burst. At start of turn, grant +1 movement. In combat, grant bonus stats based on the initiator's movement up to +3. If unit uses an offensive special, grant -1 instant cooldown before their first attack. How many Tempest variants will we get before Sigurd gives up momentum? Apparently at least 4. As a counterpart to Summer Lapis' Pulse Tempest, Tempest Burst gives -1 cooldown on the first attack. This is just pre-amp Pulse. Tempest Burst kinda overlaps with Assault Rush. Assault Rush can give more attack along with charge, but its cooldown effect is player phase only. Tempest Burst can give -1 cooldown on either phase. Generally speaking, Teatime Felix is still the same extra action solo monster like his Brave Vault. He does give up his mixed phase distant counter potential, but this Felix inflicts debuffs that his team can benefit from. When he initiates, Felix will charge his double slaying Gus thanks to Tempest Burst. Since it's 1 cooldown, he can recharge it when he gets hit back, but this Felix doesn't have no guard, so unless you run tempo or get that effect, then he potentially doesn't trigger Gus on his follow-up. Additionally, Scowl can technically stop Gust, and without the activation, Felix doesn't have DR piercing, something to watch out for. Now, assuming no other hiccups, Felix's double Gus procs will get a lot of true damage, and he has no follow-up to double. Gus's 40% DR will stack with 2 flat DR sources. Felix gets 3 advantageous statuses thanks to his debuffing and the +1 movement. Try to get 2 more to max out his potential. Felix is pretty much ready to go out of the box. If you want, you can outsource no follow-up and run Excel in the A slot. Find attack debuffs to Sabotage for even more damage reduced. Felix could re-add distant counter, though you may want to find a way to charge Gust before taking a hit. I guess he could run the new Fate C skill with his 1 cooldown Gust, but generally speaking, Felix likes Tempest Burst, and he wants to be initiating primarily. For other special options, you can get really silly with Emblem Marth for triple slaying. Felix could pull out 1 cooldown AoE specials or Astra. He could also have 2 or 3 cooldown Gale Force / Aether, equally just as dumb. Overall, Teatime Felix doesn't differ from his Brave Vault that much, but do be aware of those Lone Wolf changes. Next up is Teatime Veronica. She will be a colorless mage cavalier with 38 HP, 47 attack, 48 speed, 21 defense, and 25 res. Veronica has speed and res super boons, and don't underestimate her bulk just yet. For old skills, Veronica has Slice with Sparrow, the excellent attack and speed inside home, and the best skill in the game, Reposition. Veronica's Princess Teapot should be familiar. After a rally or movement assist is used or targets unit, grants Resonance Blades, Shields, and Breath type cooldown to allies within 2 spaces of the unit and target ally. After assisting, gain an extra action. For other effects, Veronica gets Far Choice for Kanto and Slaying. If initiating or near an ally, Veronica gets the same bonus stats, true damage, and flat DR effects as Felix, up to +14 to all stats, with 25 true damage and 15 flat DR if Veronica has 5 advantageous statuses. We've seen all these effects on this banner, though Veronica interestingly hands out Resonance Blades and Shields, +4 to all stats with a but follow-up denial. For Veronica specifically, the Breath type cooldown is going to be very important for her. This is because Veronica has a unique 5 cooldown special called Immurement. This special scales off 70% attack and has full DR piercing. It comes with a bunch of bonuses. At start of turn and after acting, Veronica inflicts -7 speed and res, feud, and discord onto closest foes and foes within 2 spaces. Veronica gets no guard to always charge up this special. Last, if initiating, Veronica gets % damage reduction equal to 40 plus the number of foes within 2 spaces of the target with feud active times 10. That includes the target as well. If Veronica can find a group of 4 total enemies with feud, then she can get a massive 80% unpierceable damage reduction. Like Mr. Claude, 80% TR can make just about any unit incredibly tanky. Veronica thankfully only gets this during initiations and has to face a group of units with feud. Like Felix, Veronica inflicts feud plus other debuffs after acting. She can get around cleansing effects by assisting and getting that extra action after. Veronica will have a new inheritable B skill, Speed and Res Detect. It inflicts -4 speed and res on the foe in combat. When a movement assist is used, inflict exposure on closest foes within 5 spaces and nearby enemies. For any allies in combat, this skill is going to detect foes with exposure. Those foes take -5 speed and res and lose their speed and res field buffs in combat. As mentioned with Celine, Detect is great with these extra action assist skills. You can debuff and benefit from the effects by attacking in the same turn. Luckily, Speed and Res Detect builds Auto Snag 3, that is on Heroic Rail Grim Robin, so if you want, Veronica can very easily give her entire fodder skill set to another unit. For playstyle, Veronica has the same buffing and debuffing tactics that Celine and Felix employ. She kinda takes things to the extreme though, since with her base kit that's 7 advantageous statuses. You got Resonance Blades and Shields, Breath type cooldown, Feud, Discord, Exposure, and Incited. Veronica inflicts Speed and Res debuffs and gives the team +6 attack and speed via Inside Home. Detect then adds more speed and res advantages for any ally. For her own combat, Veronica does stack a decent amount of bonus stats, but she's still very reliant on her huge, unpierceable 80% DR to survive. You need to attack into a group of foes with feud active, otherwise your % DR amount is gonna go down. Veronica can easily get her 25 true damage and 15 flat DR, but what about a Mermit? It may do good damage, but 5 cooldown's very high. With Slang and Breath type cooldown, the plan is to initiate, get hit back, and then proc a Mermit on the follow-up. Veronica has no guard, but if you run into defensive tempo, then it's almost gonna be impossible to trigger the special in one round. One way to supplement damage for Veronica will be to give her Reflex from Legendary Black Knight. All that damage she reduces is gonna be turned into true damage. Veronica does need to follow up for this to happen, so while Slice with Sparrow can offset one follow-up denial, you technically can still be stopped. No follow-up would be preferred. The last unit on this banner can offer Reflex and no follow-up if you're interested. For other skills, Veronica could run things like Flared Sparrow, Occultist's Strike, or Fatal Smoke 4, but her base kit is both offensive and supportive in nature. It goes well with her weapon and special. Detect is good, but Attack and Defense Snag 4 would be another debuffing option. This can match Veronica's speed and res debuffs, plus you can get Sabotage to double up. Sadly, this variant is hilariously hard to get, only on Isadora. Like Celine, Veronica could use Snag or Link Sacred Seals as well. Usually, Desperation is nice for a Glass Cannon mage, but Veronica cannot trigger her high cooldown special without getting hit back. It's possible, but you're gonna need outside cooldown help. Keep in mind, a Mermit only gives damage reduction when initiating. This Veronica wants to stay far away from any enemy phasing. In conclusion, Teatime Veronica takes a different approach from her last ult. Instead of avoiding foes with sweep effects, she's just gonna crash into them with 80% DR. She has a ton more team support, plus you can initiate from so far away with the extra action. I didn't really focus on it, but having feud access is also really nice to close off enemies from their drive type buffs. Last unit for today is Harmonic Ingrid and Nanna. For this ult, Ingrid has finally put down the lance and has picked up the spoon. I mean axe. This Axe Cavalier has 40 HP, 46 attack, 48 speed, 35 defense, and 21 res. Speed super boon, great offensive stats, and the typical higher defense focus. For ult skills, Ingrid brings Rally Up Defense. Only other unit with that is Dual Ninja Core. Ingrid will then bring 2 excellent offensive skills in Haze Slice and Potent Assault. For their weapon, the Silver Spoon has all the same effects we've seen today. Ingrid gets an extra action after assisting, but her buffs are going to include Reflex, Dodge, and no follow. This weapon has Slaying, and its stat boost, true damage, and flat damage effects are the same as Felix and Veronica. On top of these, Ingrid comes with Preempt Pulses, -1 instant cooldown, and she heals 7 HP after combat. Silver Spoon is a fun weapon. Ingrid wants 5 advantageous statuses, and she can hand out 3 herself. This includes the still relatively new Reflex status, which is what Legendary Black Knight introduced. If you don't have the new BK, but you want to mess around with Reflex's damage reflection, then Ingrid's another option. You can get some funny results with weapons that already have built-in damage reflection, such as Nyx's Tome, which just got a self-looping Miracle Refine. Continuing on, Ingrid gets a new version of her rearmed ult's A skill. Lady Knight enables contact distance +1. If initiating or near an ally, deal 7 instant damage as combat begins, and grant +8 to all stats with an extra +Y. If Ingrid triggers a potent follow-up, it's going to deal 100% full damage. Ingrid then has true damage and flat damage reduction equal to Y times 4. If the enemy triggers a special, you get double the flat DR amount. The Y value for this skill is the number of spaces moved by the initiator. This is the clash movement condition, and it maxes out at 3 spaces. Last, after initiating, Ingrid deploys Divine Vein Flame Tiles in a line. Lady Knight gives a great conto effect, basically a flared A skill effect, and full damage potent follow-ups. If you can move 3 spaces, Ingrid can also get up to +11 stats with 12 true damage and flat DR. While you could run other B skills, Ingrid's definitely incentivized to keep Potent Assault. She can hit and run very far away while leaving Flame Tiles behind. For their Harmonized skill, Ingrid and Nanna will get +1 movement. For allies from Thracia 776 or 3 houses, they can get Resonance Blades and Empathy. This skill can recharge every 3rd turn. 4-move Cavaliers are scary, and it gets worse when they get an extra action like Ingrid. Resonance Blades and Empathy are just pure stat boost. With this skill and her base kit, Ingrid will have 7 statuses to get the +7 to all stats via Empathy. Last new inheritable skill from the banner is Attack and Speed Outcry Dull. This is basically an Insight Hone side grade, or technically upgrade. It has the same 2-space buffing range or +6 attack and speed. Instead of passing out Incited, this skill passes out low to neutralize enemy field buffs. If there are 3 allies on the map with low, the user gets +5 attack and speed in combat. New to this skill is a true damage component equal to the number of spaces moved by the initiator times 2. If they move 4 spaces, you can get 8 extra true damage from the C slot. Full buff neutralization is nice to have, and this is another easy to use buffing skill for Cavaliers. Unfortunately, Outcry Dull is only for melee cows. This skill would have allowed Reinhardt to get more true damage for his OP Brave Tome, and that's where the devs draw the line when it comes to power creep, I guess. Anyway, unless you value Incited's +3 stat boost a lot more over low, then the extra true damage will make Outcry Dull kind of an upgrade over the already really good Insight Hone. For playstyle, Ingrid does want to trigger her extra action or at least get assisted so she can get dodge, no follow-up and reflex. Use the Harmonized skill for +1 movement and more stats, otherwise Ingrid just wants to initiate from 3 spaces away. With Slang and Preempt Pulse, she will proc Haze Slice immediately. Ingrid then tanks incoming hits with 40% unpierceable DR and then 40% regular DR via dodge. She has a couple flat DR sources, and should she survive, then Reflex is going to give true damage to Ingrid's second hit based on the damage reduced. Assuming no enemy guard effects, their counter plus Ingrid's follow-up will recharge Haze Slice. Ingrid then can get a full damage 3rd potent hit, and that's going to trigger Haze Slice a 2nd time. Ingrid's got 4 true damage sources in her kit and 50% DR piercing. She can retreat very far away with her contact distance after. For the most part, Ingrid's kit is solid. Outcry Dull will add more support on top of Ingrid's statuses. She has 3 really nice offensive skills, plus she wants Potent anyway. Technically, you could outsource Potent to Legendary Iroh, Duomarth, or maybe a new ally in the future. Ingrid will need to survive, so maybe something like Float Guard could be used, but you will lack the damage of the Assault part of Potent Assault. For C skills, you could outsource the low and field buffs, but Outcry Dull is another way to get true damage. Fatal Smoke or Shadow Shift would be good for utility, but more damage is more damage. For Sacred Seals, Ingrid could use Clasher Prime for stats. Desperation could be nice for later fights, and like the other Teatime ults, there is a rare opportunity to use things like Snag or Link skills. If you can get Desperation as a status or something, Ingrid could drop her 3 attacks all at once. If you have a Quit on skill, she could still get 2 Haze Slice activations thanks to Potent. Add Brave attacks for 3 procs, just to be silly. In general, I would say the main concern for this Ingrid is surviving counterattacks. Reflex is very fun, but Ingrid isn't packing the same natural bulk like Black Knight. I don't know if it's worth it, but you could try to abuse Miracle as a special. Ingrid will need more cooldown, but that is a potential option. Just gotta be careful of Brave attacks. That'll be it for this banner breakdown. Last call before CY09. I wish you the best of luck if you want units from both banners. If you'd like to wait and see what Treasure Legends will bring, in the meantime we have Teatime Finn as the Tempest rewards. If you liked Celine's inheritable weapon, then Finn brings a sword version, and he's got pretty nice stats for himself. We'll talk about him more in the next video. Thank you for watching. I'm gonna go make myself a cup of tea, and I will enjoy it while we talk about the Tempest Trials. See you soon.